had a pregnancy scare and my boyfriend's reaction to it all is weirding me out. A few things happened in the lead up to the pregnancy scare. A London broke, and I skipped my period, I think due to being sick and stressed, which doesn't often happen to me. Not a pregnancy test, tucked it up as I didn't know how to use it and it came up void. Why do bad things have to happen all at once? Luck me was that a distressful week. Apparently, you have to do the test first thing in the morning on a certain day? Anyway, I thought I was pregnant and booked a doctor's appointment, so I was bit unsure for a week or so if I was or weren't pregnant. Good news is I wasn't. My doctor went through birth control option with me and sent me to the local sexual health clinic as they have group meetus for learning. I have always been front with my boyfriend that I don't want kiss, and according to him neither does he. When I told him the news he was ecstatic and couldn't wait to start our little family. I kept trying to remind him that I didn't want this, but he was too caught up in it all. I sort of left him to it after that and dealt with it myself. I was stressed out as it is, I didn't need to deal with a whole other person on top of it. He clearly knew that I didn't want to be pregnant, and if it actually came down to it, I will terminate the pregnancy. 2 days later he came back to me telling me he has it all sorted out. A coat danger, you might ask? No, he sorted out living arrangements for us to move in together, back in his childhood room, with his parents on the opposite side of the country. His parents were positively thrilled and his son has tried to call me multiple times. He had started buying furniture online for us and had them delivered and told me we were going to go over the next weekend to set it up and start moving. His is all so sudden considering at this point I didn't actually know I was pregnant. On top of that, I have met his parents once. I live near my parents and I live in my own apartment. He is in a house share. If I was pregnant and wanting to keep it, he had just picked the widest and dullest idea. I haven't actually told him I'm not pregnant yet. I found out yesterday and I have all of this I want to talk about, which I feel should happen in one go.
Holy shit. He sure excavated that fast. I'm sorry, I'm honestly laughing at how absurd the situation is. In what universe does he think he's living? At the very least, you need to sit him down for a serious talk. Try to figure out what is really going through his head. Now could his version of the situation be so out of ligament with yours? It's like he had a little miniature panic episode to punctuate the big news.
Whoa, Kay, well, I think it's obvious that he has decided he does want kiss. It's not unusual for something like a pregnancy scare to cause someone to change their mind about kiss, but his reaction is super extreme. He did all this stuff, including order furniture, before he even knew if you were pregnant and without discussing any of it with you, including what you wanted to do. You need to let him know that you are firm on your child-free stance and express how upset you are that he told his family you were pregnant and the other crazy stuff. His may not end well for you as a couple, but eventually, it may be for the best.
Now, he obviously wants children. You don't. It's a problem that isn't going to go away. Leaving out that he actually assumed you would move across the country and live with his parents and the never-confirmed child, it's a relationship breakers. His reaction was bankers.
Let's pretend for a second that you were actually pregnant and you had changed your mind wanting to keep it. Even in this scenario, he is completely considerate. He made a lot of decisions about your future without ever involving you at all. It's absolutely insane that he decided to proof your life, tell his parents, order baby stuff, etc. And, I can't stress this enough, decided for the two of you to move across the country. To even in this scenario, he is insanely considerate. And with the added factor that A, he didn't even know for sure if you are pregnant, and most importantly B, that you don't want children, he sounds completely psychic. Are you sure it was an accident? Well him that you are not pregnant and see how he reacts. For safety reasons I suggest to do it over phone. Not texting but calling, ideally video call. You need to see his reaction. And be sure that he doesn't blame you for killing his child or something crazy. He's safe. Either he has a psychic break or he lied and actually wants children. If he doesn't go back to normal and sincerely apologize and acknowledges his mistakes, I think it's time to reconsider the relationship, or actually already reconsider it if you feel like it. He is unhinged and has not consideration for your feelings.
I almost had a panic attack from reading this. I went through something very similar years ago. He were long distance and I was on birth control. My period was really late right after I had spent about a week at his place. Being a responsible adult, I told him as soon as I realized it was late, but before I went and bought pregnancy tests. I was very clear with that if I was pregnant I would abort. I was emotional a mess because life in general was 30 right then and I really didn't want to have an abortion, but keeping the child was not an option. No matter how much I repeated this, he would not stop telling me how he would step up and do me right. He started making plans to move and get a better job and everything was going to be so great. My anxiety got really fucking bad, and no matter how much I told him he was making it worse, he wouldn't stop. Eventually I got tested and I wasn't pregnant.
But I was young and stupid and stayed with that idiot for almost a year after that.
Even though he made it perfectly clear that he was incapable of listening to me and didn't care at all about my emotional state. If it isn't clear, I am telling you to leave. His guy isn't even trying to listen. He will try to play it as he's being a good boyfriend, since he's not running from a potential baby, but he is being downright horrible by refusing to hear what you say.
I'm not trying to freak you out, just wanting to share similar experience. My mom got married young to an older guy. Both already had kiss from past relationships and did not want any other kiss. In fact, neither of their own kiss actually lived with them. They talked explicitly about not wanting kiss and all seemed fine. Until she got pregnant with me. They was on birth control and they used condom. It later came out that he tempered with both. He became obsessed with having a baby, got physically and verbally abusive, and moved her from UV to live in UV with his family. Wouldn't let her leave or go out alone, ended up trying to kill her and kill me several times after I was born. I'm not one to jump to leave, but tread very carefully and please put your safety and mental well-being first, in that order. That may upset you now. Breaking up could lead to you surviving in the future. Again, not trying to freak you out, just sharing in hopes of giving some perspective on possibilities.
You learned a bunch of valuable lessons about your boyfriend and how you two are incompatible. He wants kiss, you don't. He will prioritize his wants and needs over yours. He doesn't listen to your concerns or feelings, and will bulldog to get what he wants. He will overshare with his family, even when it damages you or your relationship. He will make major decisions like housing, moving, furniture without consulting with you. I'm not going to conjecture over whether or not this was an accident, but it's certainly possible, given his reaction. Regardless of whether it was an accident or an honest mistake, you can't forget how deeply incompatible and insensitive his actions were. All of these would be deal breakers for me.
He is obviously not on the no kiss page with you. You need to inform him you're not pregnant and say, I thought we were both on the same pages as no kiss ever, but this scare has proved that you are not on that page. Unfortunately, that's a deal breaker, so I wish you well in life, but we need to break up. I hope you find someone who wants kiss. Quote.
Unfortunately, many people are convinced that choosing to be child-free is just a phase or a sign of maturity that everyone eventually grows out of. Your boyfriend may be one of those people, and when you say neither of you want kiss, he thinks it means you don't want kiss now. If he can't truly recognize and respect your position, or he is just waiting for you to eventually change your mind, you're simply not compatible.
Why do I have a feeling this guy tried to baby trap you? Now certain are you that the London just broke?
His feels relationship ending. He clearly wants kiss, but more alarming, he's making major life decisions without your input. Telling his parents, planning a move, buying furniture? He's stopping all over your boundaries and just doing whatever he wants. Really take some time to consider what you want in a partner because he just showed you exactly who he is.
You need to tell him immediately that you're not pregnant and end the relationship. You're not compatible for each other. He clearly is excited about the possibility of having kiss and you don't want any.
Don't have sex with him again if you know you don't want kiss. He's not the one for you.
I think he stayed in this relationship thinking you will change your mind eventually. Well him that you want and also ask him to be honest with you. Also, avoid getting intimate with him, especially PIV sex. I have heard a lot of stories of stealthily and holes in condom. Or get on up. Have a proper communication with him, and if you both are not compatible considering kiss, you know what you will have to do for your own good.
The speed with which this moved along makes me feel he intended to baby trap you. And the fact that, from your moments, he allegedly ignored you telling him you'd get an abortion and went and set all this up this quickly only affirm it. There is no future in this relationship if you don't want Kiss and he does. And even less so if he's taking intentional steps towards getting his way, which is incredibly worrying. Stay safe.
His is an instance where you really need to break up with him. He completely ignored you wanting an abortion and will try to get you pregnant again. Getting his parents involved and planning your life without your input is actually insane. You are incompatible and never will be. Met him find a woman who wants children. Met on a birth control your doctor recommended and stop depending on condemn.
Did the London break, or did he break it? He's way too happy knowing full well you aren't.
Now he showed you that you have a reason to break up. Your wants and expectations are not the same anymore. He wanted to move you across the country without hearing about what you were telling him. Don't ever sleep again with him. There's the chance he tried to baby trap you.
Are you sure the London broke? May have been sabotaged. Mine sounds like he had baby representative on speed dial. Very strange.
First of all, if you live in a state where you can have an abortion in case you were pregnant, that's great. Now, sometimes people say they don't want Kiss, but they actually want and think they can just change their partner's mind or baby trap them. By now you should know what's on his mind. I think he has shown you already.
Please be careful. He might try to make a family with you regardless of your wishes by tapering with any birth control you should be using.
Run, bitch, run. In all seriousness, his left first move upon hearing pregnancy was to cut you off from your support structure and trap you in a house with him and his parents, who conveniently all want the baby even though you were clear you did not. I'm curious if his parents live in a red state where you'd be wrapped, unable to get it adopted?
K. Super weird. Where are the conversations that need to happen? 1. Well, you're not pregnant. He sounds like he was super excited about the idea, so it might take him some emotional space to process that. Met him know that you're ecstatic you're not pregnant, so if he wants to mourn he should probably look for support elsewhere. 2. Well, you are never going to be pregnant. Thinking you might be did not change your views on the matter. But that you're thinking he wants to be a daddy, and that means you can't make each other happy in a relationship. 3. Well, that, even if he were okay with never having a baby with you, you can't be in a relationship with someone who makes so many unilateral decisions. You get that he got excited and was trying to help, but that you are a full person with full person opinions and do not appreciate him setting things up without your input. 4. Anything else you want to tell him? Take your own list ahead of time, to make sure you don't leave anything out once the emotions get mess. Honestly, I don't see your relationship surviving this. Hope to be wrong and this is all a fun story one day about how dumb he was when he was young, but this also might just end up being a story about an incompatible guy you once dated.
Kiev, I commented earlier today, but this story has been living in my head all damn day and I can't help but be a bit concerned for you, emotional and your safety too. Please give us an update when you can to help ease the minds of the daring internet strangers.
To not have sex with him again. His is your wake-up call. He wants Kiss and doesn't take you seriously about your own choice and autonomy. If you stay with him you'll end up, accidentally, pregnant and he'll find a way to trap you. You need to end this. His reaction was passively impulsive and speaks to him overreacting to other stuff. I would gather anything of his at yours and yours at his before doing anything and consider breaking up with him in a public place for your safety. Please check your condemn for tapering.
First, you have to tell him you're not pregnant. Second, he obviously wants children and you don't, so I think it's time to call it a day on this relationship. Third, find a more reliable form of birth control that you have control over, as he obviously can't be trusted to not do something bankers at this point if this was his reaction.
His is a list of red flags. He not only ignored what you said you wanted if you were pregnant. Before he even knew for sure, he bought furniture and made massive moving plans without ever talking to you. You need to sit him down immediately and explain you are not pregnant, do not ever want to be, and that he has crossed so many lines and need to sort out his shit. Unfortunately, it now seems like your views on children are fundamentally different and he doesn't think he needs to talk to you about choice.
Am I the only one who thinks this week's of baby tapping? I would run after seeing this reaction. That, or make sure you get on a birth control he can't temper with like an IUD, because that is not the response of someone who's okay with not having kiss.
Folly, you in danger, girl.
However this goes, do not have sex with this man again.
You have learned some very important information about him. Use it wisely.
I don't have time to read all 382 responses, so I apologize if someone has already said this. Stop having sex with him. Immediately. From your moments and the bizarre, controlling way he reacted, I wouldn't be surprised if he sabotaged the condemn. Besides that, he made major decisions for you with no discussion whatsoever and completely ignored you when you communicated multiple times what your intentions were. He is terrifying, quite frankly, and I would end things with him ASAP.
Run for the hills. He's made it abundantly clear that he wants children, despite you being absolutely clear that you do not. In fact, he told you he didn't want children either. That leaves two possibilities, neither of which paint him in particularly good light. 1. He lied to you and fully expected you to change your mind, or end up pregnant and be unwilling to get an abortion. 2. Somewhere along the line he changed his mind. Okay. But neglected to bother telling you about his change in heart. Not okay. Either way, this relationship is over. You are fundamentally incompatible. Children are not something you can compromise on. You can't decide to compromise on having half a child. Beyond the obvious children versus non-children issue, the post is full of more red flags than a parade on Red Square. His first instinct on hearing you might be pregnant, instead of having an adult discussion about what you are going to do about it as a couple, was to run to mommy and daddy. It's pretty obvious that his intention in telling his parents was to put pressure on you not to abort if it turned out you were pregnant. That in and of itself is a massive red flag. It shows he does not respect your bodily autonomy. And that's before we consider that even if in some hypothetical parallel universe you did want to keep the pregnancy, he thinks he could unilaterally decide you were going to move halfway across the country, hundreds, thousands of miles from your own family and support net. That suggests he intended to isolate you from your existing friends, family, so that he and his own family could control you.
He's not children, he's expecting you to change your mind. Long term this will end badly no matter how you slice it.
All of us are dying to know how this conversation goes. My cynical mind wonders if the London broke, on accident, or, by design. Update me.
It seems like you need to have 3 big conversations with him. 1. I'm not pregnant. 2. You know that I don't actually want children, and I thought you didn't either. Have you changed your mind on that? 3. Let's pretend that I actually was pregnant. Why on earth do you think I would be happy that you made all these plans about where I was going to live and what our life was going to be like without even talking to me? His 1 is the biggest red flag here, Mio.
Sounds like you need to let him know that if you actually got pregnant, you would be getting an abortion.